All right. I am excited to be here. I'm excited to share with you. I'm excited that you are here. Welcome. Um, I'm your host, KL. I'm a shaman. Uh, that very first, the very first section, it was really, really interesting how it all turned out. Um, Today I'm going to talk about why. Why should you care? Why should you listen to me? Why would it matter? Right? And I'm really excited to share that with you. So, today, this is what we're going to do. It might be a little bit emotional, but I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to tell you why. So, all of this really kicked off for me quite a few years ago, um, in my very early 20s. Uh, I had a little bit of a situation that happened, a bit of an altercation that happened with my brother. I'm not going to go into that here, but if you want to know more about that story, you can actually uh, catch that on my podcast, and I'll put up what that is here. So that's the name of the podcast, Not Your Average Shaman, right? Um, and you can find that podcast on pretty much every platform where podcasts are available. So this altercation had left me really debilitated. Um, it was bad. It was pretty bad. And I needed to find a way to address what was happening. So the way that it left me was I'd be waking up at night in cold sweats. And they were really, really hard cold sweats. I'm talking about, being woken up in the morning and my entire body would be soaked. There was so much anger, so much hurt, and uh, incredible heart palpitations. I didn't know if I would have lasted. In fact, it was so serious to me that I didn't think I was going to see 25 if I didn't do something about it. So I didn't have anybody to talk to. And I was back in my home country. I had no idea how to deal with this. Uh, maybe about a month into all of this. Well, sorry, a month. Yeah, maybe about a month or two into this sort of cold sweat, because it lasted for about 3 months. So about a month or two into this cold sweat, while I was trying to figure out how am I going to deal with this, a very strong urge came to me in the form of words, which said, face your fears. I had no idea where it came from. All I knew was it made sense at the time. So I decided, okay, what am I afraid of? Like, what is the thing that I'm most afraid of? And turns out that I was most afraid of being, Christian. Well, growing up Christian, I would say. The thing that I was most afraid of was the devil. But then I had to figure out what it is about the devil that I was truly afraid of. And it turns out that I remembered magic. That's the devil's tool. So I decided, okay, I'm going to face this. Because if I can face the fear, then I might get to whatever this thought is that introduced the idea that I needed to face my fears. And the words were very clear. Face your fears. It was I remember to this day, it was crystal clear. So when I made that decision, okay, I'm going to find out, I'm going to face this fear that I have of the devil and of magic. That was what I intended to do. And so I set out to do it. Back then, there was only one bookstore that had the potential to carry anything on the subject. So I went downtown and I went to that bookstore, and I remember kind of going through the store, and I saw the section and I scurried away. And just as I was about to leave the store, I felt this incredible urge pushing me back in, like, no, you have to do this. And I remember some of the store clerks looking at me like if something was up, I might have been there to, you know, not so good intentions. So after about two more rounds, I finally stopped at that section. And I remember picking up two books. One was The Golden Dawn System, and I think that one was written by Dion Fortune. And then the other one, which was Magic for Beginners by J.H. Brennan. That's the one I chose. And I picked it up and, paid for it and scurried out of there like if I was secretly buying condoms. And I was out of there. It took a while for me to face the fact that I actually bought the book. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I didn't even know if I was actually going to read the book, but I knew that I had to. But I didn't know how I was actually going to open this book. The first 3 chapters of that book taught me meditation skills that I didn't know existed. And bear in mind, you have to understand, like, I grew up Christian, so for me, doing this was a really, really big thing. And I had to negotiate within myself, just based on Christian terms, what I was getting myself involved with. I had to know for a fact, okay, am I actually doing this for the right reasons? And I negotiated that yes, I was. I thought to myself, I am resolute that if I find out magic is real, then I know. If I find out the devil is real, then I know. If I find out it's fake, then I still know. Either way, whatever the outcome, I win. And that was my premise for going in. That's what really started it all. And what sealed the deal was, see, that book is divided into 2 sections. So the first half culminated in a ritual to materialize $100. And it happened. It happened in a really, really strange and significant way that it was pretty undeniable. I also talk about this on my podcast. So if you want more details, just head over there and you can listen to that. The point of it is, through massive fear and facing it, I found out what it is I wanted to find out. And those particular meditations that I did, I remember by the 3rd chapter, because everything was sort of sequential. By the 3rd chapter, it was so incredible because I remember I slept. And not only did I sleep through the night, I slept in. I think it was maybe like 10 hours. And you got to remember, for just about 3 months, I couldn't sleep. So that was significant to me, that this actually worked, that there was a part of my brain that was responding to this. So I had to continue. And the second part of that book went into ritual magic, or what's called ceremonial magic. And that was another experience that was quite profound, because at the end of it, at the end of that part of the book, there was a ritual in there which is quite well known in the ritual community to bring in the elemental angels. And I remember it so clearly because in a completely sealed room that I was in with no chance of any sort of outside or coincidental interference, when I stuck my hand out, to cut the air, to bring in, the element of air, there was a rush and gush of wind that hit me, a physical wind just hitting me. When I moved to this side, nothing. When I moved to this side, nothing. When I stood right where I cut with my hand, it was rushing at me. When I went to the south and I put my hand in there to split that area open to bring in fire, there was a rush of heat that hit me. Again, I tested it. Same thing. I shifted this side, and then I could feel a little bit of the air that was on that side coming in. I shifted this side, there's nothing. Stand right there, there's fire. This happened for all four in the most profound, undeniable way. And so that was my real first introduction into, holy crap, this exists. Now you got to take into consideration that, again, because I grew up Christian, my growing up was a little bit different from most, in that my dad ran a gospel band that ran for like 12 years, and I was the keyboardist in that band. Kid star player. That all I lived through that. So here's the okay. Here's the thing. When you grew up in that kind of environment, there's certain things that you end up being privy to and see. And in the 12 years that my dad had this band and I was a part of it, I started playing in the band when I was 8 years old. So that band was our life. And we saw incredible things, which included, there was maybe about a year or two where the entire country had been suffering extreme debilitating possessions. And I do mean full-on Hollywood-style possession, demon possession, straight up. And one of those possessions happened to affect a girl who lived with us as like a foster sister. And it was for about 6 months that she was like that. The pastor had worked on her for those full 6 months. It was rough. We barely could sleep at night because somebody had to keep watch. Because when she went to sleep, demons took over and tried to either ransack the house or make her run away. And I lived through that. So coming from that, I had a very clear understanding of the spirit world, but only from one perspective. So I needed to understand it from a different perspective to face my own fears of it. And that's exactly what happened. So this is kind of where I come from, that started my journey into needing to know, not wanting to know, but truly needing to know. What, why, where, when, how. Okay, since this is real, what next? And that is how I began on a journey that solidified my no turning back attitude and brought me to a place where, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is who I have always been. And to really seat myself comfortably in that role. So I wanted to share that with you because we are going to talk some really deep topics. And I want you to be comfortable knowing that I'm not just talking out my backside, that I am coming from a place of true, deep experiential knowledge. That if you ask questions, you know that the answer that I'm giving is coming from a place of profound wisdom, which is based on my own personal actions, my own personal discoveries, my own personal research into having clarity about what I experience. Unlike a lot of people in this field, I came into it with not just high skepticism. I came into it with eyes wide open because I'm not the fairy fluff and unicorn kind of a guy. So if there's something that is presenting itself as truth or a reality, you better believe I'm going to test the shit out of it. And that's what I've always done. So you can rest assured, you, my dear friend, you, the viewer, can rest assured that this is going to be a place where your questions are going to experience real answers. All right? Now, I just kind of looked and realized that Facebook did that crazy thing again and ended my life. So we're not. If you're on YouTube and you're still with me, awesome. If you're on Twitch, you're still with me, hell yeah, right? It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun between us. I'm excited to share some really amazing stuff with you. So hopefully the Facebook doesn't do that craziness again. But in the meantime, you can also experience me on Instagram as kl.the.shaman. Of course, Instagram is owned by Facebook, so they may try some stuff over there too. If you can't find me, just shoot me a message, let me know what your Insta is, and I will add you. You will also find me on YouTube as KL the Shaman, and you will find me on Twitch as KL the Shaman. So, I'm streaming this, well, now just 2 platforms live, but normally I will be streaming all 3 platforms together at the same time. So you can choose whichever platform you'd like to find me on. And if you enjoyed what I presented here to you this evening, feel free to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and we can get to know each other better. And feel free to throw as many questions as you want. I'm going to try to put this up on Insta as a replay, so it's going to be fun. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you again next time.